Vegas, I'm Fox, joined by Landon. We have Cloud9 facing off against Elevate in our winners round 1 match.
Indeed we do. It should be a fantastic match to actually spectate. Obviously, this is currently winners round 1, and I believe the winner of this game is actually going to be guaranteed top 6, so obviously a major matchup when it comes down to this.
Yeah, I was talking to Eggs before this game started. At first he was just like, oh, wow, Fox, you look great today. You know, that's really, that's complete fiction. But Eggs was talking about just how excited he was for this matchup. He's really happy with getting at least a top 6 placing in this tournament. He said that I was talking a little about his team's performance here, and that I had sort of high expectations for them to not have to go to Game 5 with all of their matchups in group play and everything. You know, he said he's very proud that his team is able to clutch up most of the time, right? But he said that he pointed out that, you know, just his weakness in uplink, the team's weakness in uplink is just a glaring issue that they need to solve. And I think that's an issue that Elevate can actually go ahead and press on that wound and really try and take advantage of that and force themselves into at least a Game 4, Game 5 type of situation. But I think this should be a really intense matchup here on both sides.
I definitely agree, and I think when it comes down to, you know, like I said, the game type specialties when it comes down to both these teams, you see Cloud9 heavily struggles when it comes down to uplink. Well, Elevate just happens to be one of their better game types, at least so far throughout Vegas. So to me, I'm curious to see how C9 kind of does, because in the last matchup that I actually casted, TGC stood no chance whatsoever versus that Elevate squad. I mean, they dominated in the hardpoint. S&D was a quick and easy matchup as well. And then the uplink, it was a little bit closer. TGC started to gain a little bit of life here and there, but Elevate, since that is one of their better game types, is able to kind of close it out. So I am a little bit worried to see how Cloud9 does. You know, they've obviously had a huge problem with uplink as game number 3. So if we see them lose either that hardpoint or their S&D, or even both, that could be Elevate who automatically has an advantage when it comes down to that 3.
I'm starting to sense a little bit of a trend with Aches and uplink. It doesn't really seem to be it never really seems to be a shining moment for him when the series is uplink, right?
Not at all. Even 100 Thieves, you know, just to name one, right? Never
100 who?
100 Thieves?
Just kidding.
No, joking. Yeah. Well, we'll see how they do. I'm going to be taking a look through the weapon setups. Really not exactly the weapon of choice. I really hope he does switch. If not, I'll definitely go back and check on him and see what the weapon setups are looking like.
No, let's go ahead and give him the spotlight. I'm really curious to see if he is actually going to run with that in the beginning of the game. It'd be pretty useful looking over mid map if he's going to hop inside of his top security.
He might be messing with us. Who knows? But I am curious to see actually Lacefield, who hasn't actually selected and joined the game yet. He's been kind of swapping between a K-Bar and an OSA, and I think he really is a lot stronger when it comes down to the OSA presence. I mean, the guy's been using that in all the online scrims. He's, to me, probably one of the best OSA players as far as aggression is considered. Overall, you know, awareness as well. I think just overall gun skill, he's insane with the weapon. So kind of unfortunate to see, in my opinion, that he's running rocking with the K-Bar. I like to see him be a lot more aggressive, but going to be swapping over to Reedy, as he does have that longbow for the start of this match.
All right, so look for Reedy to really try and lock down areas around the middle of the map, especially with this hard point being on top of Cube now. That's where the sniper rifle can really come into play. So, you know, it might be a sort of out of meta pick, but it's definitely something that could work here. We've seen the Elevate likes to experiment with their opening breaks quite a bit. We've seen submachine guns coming out on their side. So there's the smoke grenade. He actually can't be spotted, is able to take him out with the easy headshot onto Assault. Excellent opening strategy there to establish that middle map control and mid-map pressure with his team. But now he has to get aggressive on the objective as his team fails to hold it without him, whiffs a lot of his Glock shots, and now he's stuck rocking that sniper rifle in mid-range engagements.
That's the one unfortunate thing. It wouldn't really surprise me if we see him end up dropping that one. Of course, it is a nice, interesting strategy to see here off the break, Elevate being incredibly crafty, but as far as the points are considered, Assault currently holding this one down. Only 1 kill to his name, but the hard point time definitely going in his favor, but shots starting to come in. Shawnee, the young gun, starting to make a few kills, trying to make a little bit of an impact. A slaying presence, which I really think is good for the Elevate squad. You know, a lot of the slaying presence we talk about for European teams can sometimes lack, and it seems that for this Elevate squad, they really rely heavily on Shawnee. Such a young gun, he seems to kind of be living up to his title as one of the better slayers in Europe for right now.
Ricky just blowing up the Scarab because he knows he's got to get ready for this rotation. Doesn't want to get killed off that hard point and give the enemy team 125 points for nothing. So, rotation coming in. Reedy smelling blood on the hard point. He's sort of the frontline player right now, but I think he's trying to wait until his other teammates are in a more favorable position to push this hill. So, heads up play by Reedy to be a little patient here, but Ricky still catches him on the cross regardless. Great positioning out of him to find that kill. Now Zed, the aggressor of Elevate at the moment, one of the stronger players this weekend for the team. He's going to be the one to push in for this break. Tags a player up around the corner with the cluster grenade. I think this is a great push, but Zed's going to need some help here shortly.
And it's a push trying to come in from Cloud9, trying to hold the line as Zed, but he ends up dropping, and Cloud9 starting to force their way through. But since this hard point is such a massive one, there's such a lot of area to kind of cover, they're going to hold it down for a short time, but quickly foiled is the side of Elevators. Ricky going to be in a nice little line set, watching here through showers, as he should pick that one up, and it seems that Elevate might actually go ahead and go for the rotation over in Rocks.
Yep, we have 2 players from Elevate on the rotation. That's going to be Watson and Zed. They're both wiped out, however, by Assault's NV4. And Assault, such a huge threat with that weapon class of Assault rifles, and you can see it come into play here. So finding those 2 kills, he's going to see himself get traded by Shawnee, who, alongside Zed, has been a huge threat on this Elevate roster. Catches Aches with a headshot, tries to turn and burn with that hip fire, doesn't really need to. His teammates there to pick it up for him, and now the Cloud9 push should be coming in from just in front of him. You kind of want to see a player pushed up a little bit further in the hard point here, but with him rocking that NV4, he wants to keep that gap a little bit bigger. So the Cloud9 rush is just a little overwhelming for him, and they're able to take the hard point back.
Yeah, C9 doing a good job at just retaking hills. I mean, that 1v1 gunfight that Shawnee was able to win was pretty big. Of course, like you mentioned, the NV4 can't really push up too far, so as soon as they shut him down, it was obviously a good play for C9 to rush forward. Well, Ricky's starting to do pretty well in the slang. We talked about him kind of doing the dirty work. It seems that he's doing that right now for his squad, but really in the slang category. So Aches and Assault finding 2. Aches still looking for a few more, but of course rotations is what's going to be on everyone's minds, as the back helipad spawn is what everyone is going to be coveting. So it looks like rotations coming in over toward commissary, and I believe a few players have dropped. Assault getting the scrap time, and Watson is going to have to watch his flank because no one's there anymore.
Watson finding himself having to look at 2 different directions and so many different threats surrounding him. He's going to get shut down easily as Lacefield finds the kill. Ricky catches Shawnee by himself as well. And it just looks like Elevate is just they're not together. They're not clicking. Something is off right now. They're not meshing well. Their pushes are always staggered and slow. And Cloud9 is just heavily outslaying them with no competition. I think that we need like a solo carry kind of game out of Zed here if they want any hope of coming back in the game.
Yeah, and I think honestly the scoreboard, I mean, is obviously reflecting of what's going on right now. I mean, C9 is winning every major gun engagement, and they were breaking hills like fairly easily. And Elevate's had some good moments here and there. You know, that beginning strategy from Rudy was nice, but in a sense, I mean, it really only awarded him a second or 2. I mean, it catches the enemy off guard if anything, but in reality, that strategy doesn't really come out to play. It hasn't really worked out too much in their favor. And C9's like, you know what, you guys have interesting strategies. That's great, but we're going to dominate you when it comes down to the slang. Not exactly personally what I was expecting off of that hot start that Elevate had in their previous game versus TGC, but C9 throwing that by the wayside as they seem to be dominating this one early. Yeah,
this is a pretty abysmal start here if you're Elevate. Cloud9 is absolutely destroying right now. You got 1 player in position, that's Zed on the hard point. Not too much support, though, as he's caught in a gunfight between 2 different Cloud9 players. It looks like they're taking over here. Lots of trading going back and forth, but Assault is going to get the better end of the deal as he's contesting this hard point. 1 player on the corner, he doesn't really want to try and peek this with an NV4 because he's not entirely sure of what weapon he's going to be greeted with. Whatever it is, it's going to be better than the NV4 at that range. And you can see it here. He gets the team shot, though. The rest of his team are there. That's going to be Lacefield helping him out, finding a 2-piece. Excellent, excellent team shot and coordination there. Assault knew that he couldn't challenge that alone, and he had his team's support to back him up. Now Lacefield in a strong position to keep the pressure on to Elevate and keep them away from that objective. They're still leading this game by 100 seconds.
And Reedy just got a terrible spawn in some cases when you look at it. I mean, not a terrible spawn when it comes down to maybe getting the scrap points if you can even find this kill. But when it comes down to the next rotation, I mean, they cannot afford to get bad spawns in this particular map. It seems that C9 now getting that exact same one. So Elevate able to kind of wipe the sweat off the brow when it comes down to it. Of course, getting a rotation finally. And I mean, when we talk about that first hill, I mean, it is a very interesting sign whenever C9 holds about 40 out of the 50 seconds that were in that first hill when it's all about contention. I mean, C9 is absolutely destroying and are almost 100 points up.
So we have 1 player in the back corner going on the flank here. It's Ricky right now. Originally it was Assault. Pinch not too successful as we see Elevate's able to get some time and start coming back into this game, but this push that they're making is moving real slow. Ricky's able to get a kill, but someone needs to follow up on it ASAP unless Watson is able to stop it. Aches going to hit the flank instead of attacking head on. See how it works out for him. He catches 1 Elevate player off guard, but Zed's finding 2 kills regardless. There we go. Team shot. Elevate's able to take Aches down. A great response to Cloud9's push on that hard point as Zed and the rest of Elevate are still able to hold on to this hard point. And like I said, we need to see like a solo carry kind of performance out of Zed here if Elevate wants to come right back. And he's doing just that. Currently on a 4 streak and was able to help net his team a lot of time on that last hard point.
Yeah, and Zed obviously can't do it alone. He's going to have some of his teammates step it up. He's got the rewind. So that could be a gun engagement that could be very, very necessary for them to win, as it seems that Elevate have finally broken that 100-point margin. C9 only up 150 to 109. Rushes coming in. Zed able to find 1. Trying to find the second as well, but he challenges weak, and Ricky's able to make him pay for it. Watson still lingering, but he ends up dropping shortly after as well. So C9 get a little bit of an overextension as well as a break. So nice plays coming in from C9 yet again as they try to build this lead. But you got to keep in mind, Elevate, while you are trying to get the kills, you got to make sure that you aren't making them spawn out toward helipad. Elevate would be definitely in their worst interest to try that one out.
Watson pushing into the hard point. He's been really quiet so far this game, not contributing a whole lot except for feeding Lacefield streaks and points. And they're seeing just that as he finds a two-piece. EMP comes out. He's able to stop Assault with, or Reedy with that one. It's Assault that gets the kill onto Reedy, excuse me. So let's take a look at the utility we have on both sides right now. On the side of Elevate, Zed has access to Rewind. On the side of Cloud9, both Aches and Ricky on the verge of getting their payload, and Lacefield will follow soon after. We have Cloud9 just about 50, 60 seconds away from closing out the game, and they already have access. They're going to have access to all of that utility before they even get to that point. It's looking like it's heavily in Cloud9's favor at the moment.
We'll see if Elevate can manage a little bit of a comeback, and we talk about the man to kind of hope to bring that one forward. The slaying needs to be done by Zed. Of course, doing well already so far in this game. Rocks the rewind, and it's exactly back to the same spot he started in, but trying to find the shots. His teammates able to clean that one up, but gets very close and personal.
That was the most disorienting
his teammates able to make
fight.
that one happen. Needing to watch that back helipad spawn, but it seems they are going to have that one. So getting some much-needed time, and over to the scorecard, I mean, you can kind of see Elevate's doing a great job at kind of bringing this one back, not being too hasty, and making sure that they have those back helipad spawns. That's very, very big for them.
Oh, he didn't hit a single shot right there. Aches is going to hit him with the jump shot and shut him down. Elevate, though, getting most of the time on that hard point, starts putting themselves right back into this game.
But they've got to be aware of that next one over in the middle, because last time it was C9 who got basically every single second of that.
Except for the part that was contested, but yes, I absolutely agree. So taking a look at this, we're seeing Lacefield with his OSA. He's also got access to the MV4, useful at all ranges. If someone pushes him, he presses that triangle button, is able to switch over to that submachine gun AR hybrid that is the OSA, or he can pull out the MV4, hit some long range shots. Now Aches getting in those bottom cube gunfights for him, tags up one on the opposite side. Assault is able to finish the job on to Shawnee, and Assault, this is exactly where you want Assault with the NV4, is on loading. Such a dangerous position for a player of his caliber and his role for this team. No one can answer to it. Such a difficult chest high piece of chest high cover to be shooting from.
I mean, we talk about the number of different players that C9 have his utility. I mean, we talk about, players like Lacefield being just such a great SMG player, such a great, run and gun type of player. But you also have a guy like Assault, who's a great communicator. I mean, his shot doesn't move. And I mean, of course, along with the MV4, which has hardly any recoil whatsoever, definitely kind of increases that. But the man is absolutely dominant. He's currently on a 7 spree. And just like that, C9, before I can even finish my sentence, are going to walk away with game number 1, 250 to 159. It was a valiant effort from Elevate. They had a few interesting strats that, in the end, just didn't work out fully. Like we said, C9 able to walk away with the W.
That was tragic. If you're Elevate, that's not a great way to start the series, and we saw what happened previously when they started off the series with, what was a forfeit, and then a very disappointing Search and Destroy loss. Kind of tilted them, and they just weren't playing so hot. They weren't able to bounce back from that. So I'm curious to see if they can get their head in the game here. They understand they're playing for top 6. We're at a huge tournament here for MLG Las Vegas, and you want to, if you're an Elevate fan, you want to see them really turn things around here. And they definitely need to come on and steal that uplink later on. I think they definitely have the potential to do that, so that's something they got to keep in the back of their mind. But Search and Destroy is also where they need to show up.
That's for sure, but I'm also curious to see when it comes down to SCORCH. We talk about the amount of B hits that are going to be kind of coming out. I'm curious to see if the aggression actually gets matched, from the side of Elevate, because of course they basically get completely outslain, in the hard point. And I'm curious to see if that kind of affects their offensive pushes. Do we try to push that B site super often, or we try to maybe play a little bit more passively? That could obviously kind of come into play when it comes down to a map like SCORCH, which is very, very heavily, one-sided, I guess you could say.
Right. Lots of heavy offense towards that B side. Of course, we do see some teams switch it up and try to take that bomb to A right off the beginning to sort of play mind games to the enemy team, make them sort of allocate more players to watch cuts around mid or around the A bomb site, taking some of that attention and some of that pressure off the B site. It can definitely have its value despite not having the highest of success rates on that site. So interested to see how these two teams decide to approach this map. We saw a very interesting opening break on the hard point on breakout there. We saw a smoke sniper rifle in the window. I think that's an excellent strategy a lot of people don't utilize enough. We saw something like that in Black Ops 3 where a smoke grenade would get tossed on maybe the likes of Stronghold, right? And then some players would hop in there with either a thermal AR or a thermal sniper or something and just overlook mid, and it becomes really difficult to stop. Smoke grenades are definitely a very viable thing when you got to close off certain choke points.
Absolutely. Well, of course, we can kind of take a look at the rig draft here for game number 2. Like we said, SCORCH. And it's indeed kind of breaking things down for you guys. Of course, like we mentioned, Cloud9 taking that game number 1 in a pretty dominant fashion. See anything interesting as far as the rigs are concerned, or the payloads, excuse me? You kind of see the Centurion being brought out there from Ricky, not at all uncharacteristic when it comes down to this map. And I know you've been able to talk about when it comes down to reactive armor, the choice between the traits between Shockwave and Man-at-Arms. Do you see not really a major advantage to either side, but one that maybe works better for a map like SCORCH?
Well, I'm expecting Cloud9 to take Ricky as their bomb carrier
Yeah.
for this map. So I think that Centurion with the trophy drone trait is probably the best option for him, unless of course you were to go with so maybe something like active camo, so he could plant the bomb, then pop camo and just be completely invisible, so he's not killed after, right? Because getting off of the B bomb site after you plant is probably the most difficult thing to do on this map, other than hitting A.
Exactly.
Right. So. I'm curious to see if that's what Ricky pulls out for us here today. Now on the side of Elevate, we could see some sniper play on the B site.
I think it's possible, yeah.
That's something that we've seen.
Maybe through mid map to watch maybe a little bit of pinch that could come into play.
Yeah, either through mid or just mostly. I think the main cut the sniper I was going to be watching is from security to medic. So be on the lookout for that. We did see the KSG with thermal sight in the last map, so maybe we could see some more smoke utilization here on the side of Elevate in search and destroy.
Definitely. Well, like I said, as we get ready to load into this game, of course, a lot of matches going on Alpha as well as on Bravo. I think I just saw FaZe might have like 30-point club splice in game number 1. So, Team EU kind of struggling here in both of these games for either of these matches that are currently going on. Of course, hopefully you guys are enjoying the stream. And feel free to let us know your guys' predictions when it comes down to this particular map. Of course, SCORCH S&D going to be loading up. But I got to ask you for your prediction, Fox. When it comes down to SCORCH S&D, who are you kind of leaning toward when it comes down to this one? You think we see C9 go up 2-0 again for a lot? Or do you think that we see, a side like Elevate start to make a little bit of a comeback?
I have more faith in the clutch factor on the side of Cloud9 than I do Elevate bouncing back from such a disappointing map. I think that we see Cloud9 bring this to the uplink, lose the map to Elevate, and then close it out on the hard point afterwards. So we'll have to see how it plays out. But at the same time, you got to respect that the game. We're still in the very early stages of the game. We're still seeing teams pull out strategies that they've been hiding. So I'm curious to see what Elevate has to bring to the table to respond to that.
And when we talk about what they're bringing to the table, it seems that really they're bringing, like you said, the KBS longbow to play, as he's going to be rocking that one on the defensive side. So expect maybe potential first picks. I'm sorry, it's hard to take this seriously when they're not doing that. But moving forward, it's a great feature, but it just catches me off guard every time. But
it's dancing, man. They're living life.
I mean, hey, it's Vegas,
Stop
man.
hating.
It's Vegas. You can do whatever you want, honestly. But
this landing guy, I don't need this kind of negativity in my life.
Right? I'm just negative Nancy. But all right, it's time to hop into game number 2. Ricky, like you said, going to be your bomb carrier for the side of Cloud9 off the break. Might have spotted that player over an observation. Fortunate team kill coming there from Watson over on Zed.
Great start to the round.
What they necessarily wanted for this round number 1.
Yeah, starting off the round 3 versus 4, especially after coming off of a disappointing hard point, that's going to tilt your teammate for a little bit there. Might be disappointing, but I'm sure Zed can be able to shake it off. He's had a great event individually so far, so looking forward to see what he can do once he's not killed by his teammate. We're seeing the R3K in the hands of Shawnee looking down range. B site. This is a great position for him to be in, but he realizes he's a little outnumbered here, more than a little outnumbered. There are 3 Cloud9 players just in front of him, and one of them is putting the bomb down. The 4th player in Cloud9, you can see, is just holding that flank. One player was actually able to get right by him. That's going to be Watson. But here's the cut. He has to cross this line of sight, and he's just spotted. There it is. Aches shuts him down. Watson looked like he had a good play set up for him there, but Aches is going to find that kill, and then a second, and still going without being traded. Cloud9's going to go up 1-0.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of a pretty standard round when it comes down to, to this particular map. I mean, Cloud9 literally just set it straight, right? They get the bomb down. Aches is able to watch the potential flank that could come in. They realize they've only spotted 3 players. It just, was able to work out perfectly for them. And I believe in that round, it was 2 kills being awarded to Aches and 1 there for Ricky. Of course, like we said, the team kill kind of coming into play. Rather unfortunate if you are, like you said, the side of Elevate, especially coming after that mediocre game number 1. Well, now is their time to fare off here on some offense. I believe it's going to be 3-man hit over toward B and 1 looking over toward that A side. It is going to be Ricky. Well, I believe I might have heard a sniper rifle shot again, and it is Reedy. So rocking this one on offense as he's trying to find that first pick over an observation.
So Elevate's getting really crafty and tactical with their opening strategies. This round we're seeing both a thermal sniper come out, and we're also seeing an ERAD on the bomb planter. Just barely whiffs that shot there. I'm so surprised that he re-challenged that. It's not going to pay off for him as he's taken down. So well played round, well played offensive round on the side of Elevate. Offensive rounds usually I feel like a lot easier to win on this map.
And I think sometimes it's honestly the defensive team is kind of like always curious, like, is the bomb being planted? Is the bomb being planted? And that can kind of in some ways catch some of your players off guard if you rush too far forward. I mean, there's only a certain region where those players can obviously kind of rotate to. So I am kind of curious to see when it comes down to those defensive holds, if teams start to be a little bit more aggressive or can kind of be a little bit too aggressive. But nice sniper play there coming in from Reedy as he switches back to that K-bar. So interesting to see him rocking a regular weapon when it comes down here to this round number 3. But kills are already starting to go down. Ricky finds one. Reedy does as well. So 2 going down for either side. 4 in the total lobby. Now make it 5. Leesfield, the last man alive here over on this offensive one. Bomb is down. It looks like the two players from Elevate decide to stick together. It's a smart play.
So Elevate switches up their play here, opening up real aggressively on defense, just getting in the face of Cloud9, not letting them get so much map pressure up on that bomb site. It looks like it paid off for them as it's 2 versus 1. Lacefield, the only player on the team of Cloud9 that has yet to find a kill. And if he were to do so now, that would be absolutely huge. And I did say that I have faith in the clutch factor on the side of Cloud9. But right now you have an angry, strong Zed and Watson to answer to.
So only 30 seconds left, of course, to get that bomb down. He might get spotted here, but unfortunately, so he's going to be able to escape with this one. But how long can he escape for? He's only able to get that bomb down. He tried to escape just off to his left, but he can't find any gunfights. It looks like the duo is sticking together, Zed and Watson, as they're able to shut down Lacefield, and they are going to be able to take their round as they're now going to be up 2-1. Kind of curious maybe why Zed doesn't give that defusal to the other player, but I was going to say maybe score streaks might be coming into play potentially, but you know, that's obviously what it is. So.
He's got a scare, but he's like 200 points away from his next score streak, so he's going to go ahead and take that bomb and defuse. Actually, I don't believe you get the way that the points are allocated with defuses in this game is different.
We'll see. I'm going to go on over Zed here in a second. So he's going to have that scare, but actually 100 points away.
Plus 100 from the defuse.
Right, so now time for Elevate, yet again, to have their hand over on some offenses. They're actually rushing that bomb through mid-map. Maybe potentially if they can find that first blood, decide which site they want to go to. It's going to be a 2-2 split. Zed going to be checking that left side. Not going to spot anyone for now. Goes in the wall run, just misses one player. Gets shot from the left, gets cleaned up from the right. A beautiful play there from Assault and Lacefield. Reedy still with that sniper rifle. This is going to spot one right there. Pull out your pistol. Pull out your pistol, Reedy, and shut him down. No.
What just happened?
Oh my god, Ake shuts him down. Reedy, no, you've got to finish that kill, my friend. And now Watson.
Whatever just happened just changed my life.
What just happened to my teammate, says Watson. 1 versus 4. And now it seems that the momentum might be swinging in C9's favor, as that's going to be 4 players who stay alive, and I think he just fell down to his death. That's kind of unfortunate to fall. I think it's like lava, something like that. I don't know.
I don't know, man. It's red and bubbling. Doesn't look like it's something you want to be
magma.
around.
I don't know the difference between those things. So.
Yeah, that's way out of my realm of expertise. I can talk about Call of Duty pretty well, though. You know, not really geology or anything like that.
Geology.
Isn't that what it is? Like it's a
maybe
like molten rock or something, right?
Obviously, if I would have known, I would.
Hey, any geologists out there that are watching
the
the stream, please educate us. Thanks. So we're seeing a Cloud9 push towards the B bomb site here. Ricky's opening up the play as the front line with the bomb carrier, dodging those grenades right off the bat. Not even bothering for a trophy. He's just going to wait out the grenades. I guess they're just kind of predicting what Elevate's going to do, and now they're kind of holding back here. I guess he kind of expects Elevate to rush through like they did a few rounds ago. It looks like maybe they're trying to fake A. I think that might be the play. Just try and bait people away from the B site. They wasted all of their grenades. You can just kind of see the gears turning for the side of Cloud9 as they wait for an opportunity to strike.
Potentially looking for that first blood. I believe Aix was actually able to spot reading the back of the map, and well, so he is going to be able to shut down.
See what Zed's doing
with rewind. Looking over that B side, just making sure that plant is not going down. So it looks like kills being in response. Shiny shuts down Lacefield after picking up for his fallen comrade. Ricky getting up close and personal toward the side. It's actually a great position for him to be in. Finds one, tags up the second one. It seems that he isn't able to finish off the kill. So still a 2 versus 2. Bomb's still not down yet, but Ricky's going to fix that one, I believe, right now. So yeah, Bomb going down 2 versus 2. Now make it a 1 versus 2. Reedy, you got the pistol out. You weren't able to clean it up last time. You need to find this one, but not going to happen. Reedy, it's really unfortunate that you have that secondary, but man, if you had a K-bar, it would work a lot better, I promise. Not
quite able to connect with some Hornet shots here. To be fair, this is definitely a much more difficult gunfight than the first one.
I feel like the Hornet's a lot better, maybe, to pull out, maybe. I mean, ESMC is nice, but Hornet in those close quarter situations, I think you can get that done a high more percentage of the time.
Yeah, not coming out on top there. Let's take a look at Zed, who I'm really surprised that he died. He was playing aggressively there because he had rewind as 100 points off of his streaks, which was the right play. But the fact that he died with rewind and didn't make any sort of a difference in that round is a very, very disappointing round for him. He's going to rush up, try and get this bomb down here. He has, again, access to rewind, so he can get off of the site with it if need be. However, he's going to go ahead and just toss it down and eat a couple of grenades. Reed's able to catch Aix. Great sniper shot from him. I want to stick on board with him and see if he can follow it up, because this is a great position for post-plant.
Able to spot up, can't find that shot, but he's got a few more opportunities. He gets tagged up in the end, but realizes there is a player going to be near that bomb site. Zed with that E-Rad making things happen as he finds 3. Now Ricky the last alive, and he is going to be cleaned up in the end. So a nice job there from Elevate. They get the bomb down, and it looks like those points are going to be earning closer and closer to those payloads.
we go. Watson making a difference here, ending the round with a jump fire, a jump shot into Medic. Nice little taunt there at the end, letting them have it. So it looks like Elevate's keeping themselves in this game. And I think a lot of that is due to the contributions from the combination of Zed and Reedy. Zed's refusing to go out right now. He is refusing to go down 0-2.
On board with Zed, of course, rocking that E-Rad has no problem with being aggressive, and it seems that maybe the Armor seems so aggressive they realize that Cloud9 in their last offensive round played very, very passively, so maybe trying to catch them off guard. Zed's still looking forward here.
Zed really
having a line sight on that bomb. It seems that players just off to his left as they wait to engage, playing very passively as Cloud9, realizing that this rush may happen. They are going to go ahead and maybe make the rotation. I'm curious to see if any Elevate players might have spotted them moving. Doesn't look like maybe Reedy might have been the only player to maybe spot that one, or maybe Shawnee, but it looks like since they're staying over here, gun engagements are getting ready to go down. There actually one player who's going to be here for Elevate. That is going to be Watson. Has a perfect opportunity to get some kills. Can he find anything here? Fires some shots through, but the bait and switch starts to come in as he drops.
Look, it's the mind games paying off for them. They're all able to overwhelm the players on A site because so many players of Elevate were all allocated towards the B site, and it's paying off for him. The bomb goes down. Reedy's got to clutch it out with a sniper and a Hornet. He has access to the camo, but he probably won't pop it until the next round goes for the no-scope. He's going to whiff it.
The player coming from behind is going to be foiled, so nice job there from Cloud9, obviously realizing the fact that these guys are pushed up super far. Why not just make the rotation? They end up kind of catching Watson off guard with a huge rush, get the bomb down in their own case, and are able to clutch it out. So back-to-back rounds we go, as it seems that C9 currently have the advantage as far as the kill columns are considered. Players leading the lobby right now for their respective teams, 6-4 for Aches. Of course, 5-3 for Ricky, along with 3 plants, is probably one of the more preferred players, probably the MVP of this game so far for C9. And Zed, of course, being one of the main slayers along with Reedy at both 6 kills.
So right now, just a quick recap on what's going on here so far. I'm liking the shot calling on the side of Cloud9. You know, they're really remaining unpredictable and they're remaining successful in a lot of their offensive rounds. On the side of Elevate, I'm liking the playmaking coming out of Zed. You know, he's not very selfish. He's a very selfless player and he's making stuff happen. Reedy as well, playing an excellent supporting role. Both of these players just in the face of Cloud9, trying to cause as much damage as they can. He gets caught, though, on the push towards Drill. Outnumbered. Cloud9's going to come out on top as Assault goes for the defuse.
So I've been able to get that one. Of course, active camo already earned, so it's really just about how close to get to his streaks. But like that, 5-3 now. Cloud9 leads, in some cases Elevate. Well, your next best game mode is up next. It'd be really nice if they could have at least one more game, because that might mean that they could be up 2-1. But C9 holding strong here as they've definitely kind of improved their uplink game. I was actually talking to Ricky last night after a few of their losses, and he was saying, you know what, uplink is by far our biggest problem. We're going to come in tomorrow and try to work on this as much as possible. So depending on how much that they've grinded, we'll see how that kind of comes into play. But you can see a lot of the rigs being very close there for Ricky. 2 already earned. Ake's going to have his rewind and Assault with the active camo. So when it comes down to one more round needed, if they can use all those rigs in a perfect fashion, they can obviously get things done. But Ricky ends up dying, and Assault's going to use active camo here in a 2 versus 4 situation, now a 1 versus 3 situation, so active camo gets wasted, and Elevate gets even closer.
I don't know if it was so much of a waste. I think it was a fun time to use it. It ended up not working out for them, but I think that in that moment, it was. I think that was the right call. I don't think he expected Reedy.
I think what happened is that he was like, okay, I'm going to use my active camo, and as soon as he rocked it, one of his teammates ended up dropping from behind.
Yeah.
So I think it was kind of like just awkward timing, but you know,
First
either way,
blood
though,
from Elevate.
Yeah, it was obviously a good play from Elevate, but they still have at least one rig to work for. Ricky getting obviously closer to that Centurion, but looks like we're going to switch on board here with the side of Elevate. Reedy does actually have that overdrive.
So. I said it was active camo earlier. I apologize for that, but Reedy has access to the overdrive. We're not going to see it popped here early on in the map. No early aggression coming from him. They're actually throwing trophies down. They learned the lesson because Zed, whenever he gets in the site, he just gets spammed with these flechette grenades. You're seeing all detonate just in front of him right now. And now that he's waited those lethals out successfully, he should be able to get a plant down. However, he's getting attacked here on the site. Reedy's able to follow it up with 2 kills. Ricky knows that he can't get in their face right now. Reedy's got a hot shot. He's also got access to that overdrive. Dangerous, shuts the 3rd player down. 1 away from the ace. We're not quite able to see there if Reedy was able to get that 4th kill.
Shawnee's
but he was there. We go. Shawnee's going to take the last
though,
one.
at least, but Shawnee, the scumbag himself, this guy's going to force round 11. So this is a massive match. I think personally, Cloud9 needs this more than Elevate does. I mean, obviously, it means that they're up 2-0 in the entire game, rather than a 1-1 split if Elevate's able to win it. But when it comes down to it, if Elevate can win this, they have their most preferred game type, C9's worst, up next. So it's almost not really guaranteed, but almost set in stone that Elevate definitely has a massive advantage when it comes down to it. Let's get this round 11 started early. First blood coming in from Reedy. He's doing it with the sniper as well as the MV4s. More starting to fall. Now Ricky and Aches, the veterans left on Cloud9, have to clutch the 2 versus 4, not 2 versus 3 situation. 4 out of the 5 players in this game currently have their rig here for this last round.
And what's scary about this last round is that Elevate still has Zed and Reedy alive, and those two have been doing the best for the past few rounds, and they also both have access to their payloads. So that's really scary if you're on the side of Cloud9 and you're outnumbered. Sure, you have access to your utility as well, but you're going against the best of what Elevate has had this map at the moment.
Zed just moving forward, is trying to be a little bit of a nuisance. I believe Scorch Drink's being shut down. Still 3 versus 2. Bomb gets to be planted. Shots coming in, and here comes Zed. Trying to challenge his pump, trying to be a little bit passive. Able to shut down 1. Ricky, the last alive, the 1 versus 3, not able to make it happen. So Elevate are able to clutch it out as they're able to win this one in round 11 and tie the series up at 1-1.
Elevate's players really going off when they needed it the most. A slow start, what looked like Cloud9 outstratting them turned into Elevate just, starting to fire. Especially Reedy, who really came to life in the last couple of rounds. Ending the game with what? Was it 14 kills, 13 kills?
Yeah, 13 and 6 for Reedy. That's
big game out of him. We saw some
sniper
play.
Yeah, he was a sniper for a lot of that too. So.
Well, I think the MV4 got a good chunk of his kills because he was finding some multi-kills.
It seemed like those first bloods were almost like the easiest thing in the world for him to get. So
yeah, definitely
a major playmaker in that game.
For sure. Swinging lots of rounds in their favor before they even begin is Reedy. Excellent play out of him for the side of Elevate so they can get their first map win in the series. Now we're all tied up 1-1. If you're just tuning in, we're watching Cloud9 versus Elevate. I'm Fox. This is Landon. We're getting right into map number 3, which is, of course, going to be UPLINK. And this has been the kryptonite for Cloud9. The players are not very confident on that at all. And I think that they intended to be up 2-0 at this point going into the UPLINK. So something like that has to be weighing on the back of their mind.
Without question. So we'll see if that obviously does play a factor, like you mentioned. It's going to be THROWBACK UPLINK. I believe in every matchup that they've played so far, I don't think THROWBACK has been involved on one of the UPLINKs that they've lost. That could be wrong, but I know THROWBACK isn't necessarily one of their worst UPLINK maps. So there is still a possibility for them to kind of clutch this one out, but it is still very, very heavy on the side of Elevate for the most likely to take this game, or to take this particular map, excuse me.
Saw some pretty big plays out of the likes of Zed so far this series. I'm looking to see if he's going to continue that trend as we get into UPLINK. Just seems like he's not slowing down one bit despite, what kind of a deficit they find themselves in this series. Putting up that superstar performance you would expect from this EU superstar.
I'm glad that we're kind of highlighting Zed a lot because I know he was obviously a major slayer when it came down to the Hyper Games roster back in Black Ops 3 for most of his time, and it seemed that, when Hyper Games would kind of see success, they're kind of known as only an online team. When it came to LAN, it seemed that Zed was the major player for them, and I think a lot kind of was riding on his shoulders, and I think it's really good that he's finally kind of being on this top roster, being on this Elevate squad. He's got a lot of guys around him to kind of provide the extra slang, but I'm glad that he's kind of, in some ways, kind of finally got that extra joint forward where it's like, he is very talented. He can, rise and kind of be one of the better players in Europe, and I'm just glad that he kind of has the opportunity to be on one of the top organizations right now for EU.
And this is where I wonder how much influence Elevate's coach has had on them. Because we're seeing these wacky, opening strategies. I wonder, how much involvement the coach has in developing these strategies for them to come over to North America. Because no one else in North America is doing that in the beginning of the rounds. You're starting off with a smoke sniper and respawn, or hitting a specific route with an ERAD just to get in the face of someone else that might have an AR.
Right.
We're not seeing any other teams do that, and that definitely separates Elevate. Now, I'm not really seeing it have such a high success rate, but I think that once they get those strategies a little bit more refined, the players more comfortable with, I think that we can start to see some really, really big opening moments for Elevate over time.
Absolutely. I mean, innovation is always necessarily not a bad thing. It didn't really add to a whole lot. I mean, when they threw those smokes off the start, granted, Rudy was able to get one of the first kills of the round. Didn't really get awarded with a whole lot after that. But like I said, the innovation is good. I think when it comes down to future opponents, it's going to work eventually. When it comes down to it, I know certain teams like to rock snipers. I know in the beginning of the game, pre-seek UPLINK, I think Chino would actually sit back statue and watch over a ticket booth to find the first. A lot of these little plays with the sniper can kind of catch a team off guard, or kind of catch a certain squad off guard for a time. You know, granted, it's not going to be a strategy that you run with throughout the entire match, but, you know, a few kills here and there, especially when it comes down to uplink, if you have anything crafted that kind of comes out, that can lead to a dunk or lead to a 2-point play, which, like I said, when we know what uplinks, or when we know in a game type like uplink, those 1-point plays, those 2-point dunks can easily define a game, just by even one play or one toss that kind of does it for you.
All right, so let's go ahead and take a quick run through, if you could, Landon, of all the classes. See what kind of a weapon meta we're looking at here. The last time I saw Elevate playing on this map, I think that we saw it was either Reedy or Zed taking an ERAD towards the tunnel. And look, there it is. We're seeing Zed with the ERAD. So expect to see his route towards tunnel here. If Cloud9's done any homework at all on this matchup, they should absolutely know that that's what's coming for them. So I'm curious to see if they're going to respond to it accordingly.
You'll see how Cloud9 can obviously fare. Like we said, this is not at all a preferred game type for them, by far one of their worst. And when it comes down to Elevate, this is something that they prefer. This is kind of like, in some cases, a homecoming for them. We'll see how obviously this side does try to fare off. When it comes into throwback uplink, it's not normally a high-scoring game. A lot of strategy going to be kind of coming into this one. Like you said, Zed, the player to watch here off the start. The SMG in hand, the ERAD as well, as he's going to be pushing toward that left side. Early nades out. Looks like they are going to potentially try to check this one, but shots coming in. Zed actually drops at the start. Now 2 fall for the start of Elevate here off the start as 3 go down. And now it looks like Cloud9 have an opportunity to push this one toward Grandma's side and get an early points.
Ricky waits patiently there for the ERAD player, and he's able to shut him down. Looks like we're having a little bit of a technical issue with our audio here. We're going to get that sorted out for you in just a moment. But the first throw goes in. It's intercepted. Nothing connecting there, and Reed's going to take that on the turnover. His armor protecting him here. Zed is able to find 2 kills. Big play from him. However, there is still 1 Cloud9 player, 2 Cloud9 players just in front of the drone carrier, and he's going to get shut down real quick. Watson starts the gunfight and throws a grenade mid-gunfight. Luckily for him, Assault's going to team kill Lacefield anyway. Try and even up the odds a little bit here. Zed peppering the players on the side of Cloud9. He's able to find 1 kill. Shawnee and Reedy there to pick up the rest of the slack. Great coordination and team shot there from the side of Elevate. And now that's going to be another possession from them. They move the drone towards middle map from blue side. Their drone carrier getting jammer grenaded. That's going to be a tough route for him to take as he has no idea what's on the other side of Soda.
There's a lot of opportunities to get these 1-point tosses through. Reedy firing some good ones. Actually tosses the drone down here. The big gun engagement. If he can win this one, that's going to be big. Able to get the nice beat down. That's going to be big. Tries to find another one. Not able to make it happen. Unfortunately, he does drop, and 2 players drop for the side of Elevate. Lacefield over here on stairs. And he's going to spot 1 player over toward Bowling. Tosses that one for a few yards, ends up training his life. And now Ricky going to go for a little bit of a run here over on that blue side. Wouldn't be too out of the ordinary if we see him try to reset this drone. It looks like he might go ahead and offer to do that unless they can actually get these kills.
There it is. Easy beat down from Ricky. Great misdirection, utilizing the fact that that ping is delayed on the mini-map in competitive Call of Duty uplink. He's just able to double back and forth, and, you know, the enemy team's not really able to get an idea as to exactly where you are around the corner, so you can just get in the melee range and take him out with the drone. Aches there is going to die to Reedy. Or Shawnee, excuse me, mid-map. 3 kills go in favor of Elevate. The last man standing is Assault. He's just going to hug a corner. He knows he needs to buy his team some time, and that's great. He's able to find 1 kill, gets tagged up and shut down by Reedy, and now Shawnee is the aggressor here, trying to stay ahead of the drone for his team. Great positioning. However, just around the corner are 3 Cloud9 players just waiting, and he's able to find 2 of them. Great shots with the NV4. Not missing a beat. He gets 3 of them. Someone else from Elevate needs to contribute on this push, but no, Lacefield's going to take the drone and reset it.
That was such a smart play by Lacefield.
And unraveling all of his work.
Yeah, Shawnee just absolutely went big, and Lacefield was like, nope, I got the drone, I'm going to throw that one off. But it seems that Elevate already trying to make a play happen, not able to get that drone off is Zed. Shawnee going to be here. If he can win this 1v1 engagement, he can try to go for the 1-point pause, but players starting to stack in. Cloud9 has rotated, and yet again, that drone being tossed off to the wayside, as they're going to put that one over in blue. But potentially could do the exact same thing they previously did. You know, wait for the kills to come through. Like you said, use that drone a little bit of a distraction, but it seems that they start to go down. Aches obviously in unison resets the drone, and now with that in mind, Elevate have to rat back.
Shawnee and Reedy closing out those players that were just hovering around blue, trying to waste their time. You can tell they're just running the clock out and trying to let their team get into a better position. It's not going to work out for them too well, though. Lacefield and Ricky coming up off spawn, find 2 kills. Assault catches Zed. Shawnee, though, the last man standing for Elevate, trying to make a difference on middle map, and that he does, finding 2 kills, taking a player right off of that power position. That's Ricky that gets shut down. Still, though, kills going in favor of Cloud9. The drone not really in a favorable position for either team. They're just kind of they're just trying to establish some map pressure here. But neither team is able to sway it into anyone's direction.
Shawnee has been just absolutely destroyed when it comes down to his combinations, as well as Zed's overall slaying. But Shawnee's doing his absolute best to try to make sure the scores come in, but it seems that certain 1v1 engagements at Cloud9 are winning, some clutch gunfights that they're happening to have go in their favor is what's kind of kept this game at a level playing field. Of course, still 0-0. Like I mentioned earlier, throwback uplink, not really a high-scoring game when it comes down to it, but if you can start to get a sequence of kills, maybe even on the C9's current side, make them start spawning over inside the field, you can get a sequence of scores to go through, but it seems that last 40 seconds as it starts to tick down into this first side. Zed, drone in his hands, tosses that one down and tries to make a little more map control as Elevate tried to get at least a little bit of an advantage after this first 5 minutes.
Here it is, Zed taking point through bowling. He's able to find 1 kill. He's going to be met with another Cloud9 player just around the corner. This should be intercepted if he goes for it. No one from Cloud9 has to, though, as it whiffs just under the portal. Assault responds with 2 kills. Now Cloud9, all they have to do is take it over to Blue. They could push it up through Barn, or they can just play the corner and reset it just like they have been for the past 5 minutes. 10 seconds remaining, though. They're going to make this last-ditch effort at a possession. Still 0-0 with 5 minutes into the game. This could be our first point. The 1-point play sinks, and Cloud9 is up on the board. So we're going into our second half with Cloud9 up 1-0 against Elevate. And on the side of Elevate, one thing you really got to point out that kind of stands out at the moment is Watson's performance in this series. I mean, I understand that there are going to be failed attempts at the objective in respawn game modes, right?
Oh,
Sometimes you just have to be bait, and it doesn't work out that well for you in your stats column. But this is something we've seen throughout the whole series from him.
Yeah, and that's kind of maybe kind of been the thorn in the camel's back, but we'll see if potentially...
The thorn in the camel's back?
I don't know.
Is that what it is?
I'm tired. Just leave me alone. Anyway.
Run that by me one more time.
Zed starts to throw that one toward underpass. We'll see if he can maybe start to make a few things happen. Of course, the impact starting to be felt from the C9 side. Watson over toward bike path. 3 start to fall, and now Ricky with that drone is looking for his teammate's success. And looks like they're going to be making a little bit of a push here over toward back bowling. Drone thrown forward, and it's up to Elevate to try to hold this one strong. 2 go down, and Shawnee's left. He has gone clutch before. He was able to find 1, tries to find the second, maybe not able to make it go through, but Ricky is going to set up for the 1-point toss as now C9 are up by a full possession.
Wish we had a heat map of where these players are getting kills. I'd love to see how many kills Shawnee has in this part of the map and around like middle, taking people off of those power positions. But Reedy staying alive, finding that kill onto Assault. He knows he's about to get swarmed here. Cloud9 smelling blood. Aix is able to find Watson. No surprise there. We've seen him spending a lot of time on respawn. 1 coming up from bowling, though. That is an Elevate player who's just looking for Aix here. He knows that they're close. There we go. Reads and reacts. They're able to find 2 kills, and now Zed has access to rewind. 1 player on middle map just on the opposite side of middle train. He's able to find that one. Tags him up, gets the assist. Shawnee, again, contributing a whole lot for this team. And now we're seeing Zed take the drone down middle map, going for the 1-point play. Hopefully connects with this one.
Goodness,
if you're an Elevate fan, you're not happy with the 2 1-point plays we've seen miss. This would be a tie game if they were able to connect with those.
He's able to go big, and he's able to dunk it in, so a massive play there for Watson. Unfortunately, as the toss does miss, Elevate will obviously take the rebound. They're able to knock that one through as 3 go down yet again. This could be another sequence of scores coming in from the Elevate side as they try to go here over toward Grandma's. The entry kills need to be happening here from Reedy. He's trying to shut a few down, gets 1, and this could be another dunk for Elevate. So nice sequence of plays for them as they've completely started to dominate this game. Of course, only 1 overall advantage here, but still a nice job there from Elevate as they get those 2 sequence scores.
All right, so there we saw Zed spend the rewind. His idea was to try and stay alive in the enemy base, which is what you really want to do when you're rallying on this side, stay alive in and around Lime and Grandma's house. However, he's going to get overwhelmed. 2 players in front of him. He loses the initial gunfight and isn't really able to make anything following the use of that payload. Assault, however, is going to do Assault things and go on a 4 streak on mid-map, taking 2 players away from that power position. And now you can see drone control on the side of Cloud9, and they have to attack this next wave of Elevate players.
And Elevate is kind of lingering on their base for the time being. Aix, 13 and 18, trying to make a little bit of an impact, but he ends up dropping. Of course, you got to keep in mind, the rigs definitely can play a huge factor. Overdrive earned for Reedy. He tosses that one forward, able to find 1. Player over inside of Grandma's doesn't check. Unfortunately, he is going to head and get pinched. So, like I said, you got to keep in mind, last 2 minutes of this game, rigs could definitely come into play. Right now, Assault has that active camo. Ricky also getting very close to that overdrive from the side of Elevate. Looks like Reedy getting close to that overdrive, and I believe it's either Watson, who's kind of struggling in this game, could have the active camo, but he needs to go big here. He ends up dropping, and now Assault is going to use the active camo, but they see him. He is going to be tagged, and he ends up dropping. So just like that, the active camo is not going to be used for a scoring opportunity. It's just going to get that drone up toward portal, but Ricky also falls as well, and that's going to be a good defensive play out of the side of Elevate.
Yeah, and see, that's a great stop there. In the recent patch, we saw that active camo received a little bit of a nerf in terms of its balancing, to where when you have the objective in your hands, a flag, a drone, whatever it may be, your payload bar actually drains, what is it, two or three times as fast. So we're seeing it come into play here now as well with the overdrive, but he's able to get there so quickly it doesn't matter. That's a one-point play. Elevate is again finding themselves in a commanding lead in this game, punishing Cloud9 for the weakness at uplink. They just have to hold on for a little over a minute if they want to close out this map.
Elevate doing a great job at clearing out the base and moving the drone forward. The great overdrive play coming in from Rooney as he dips and dives and is able to get that 1 point toss in. Of course, if they would have knocked all of them in, they'd actually be up 7-2, but still, C9 still has an opportunity to close this one out. Actually, it looks like rig being used from Aches as he ends up dropping, so the rewind not coming into too much fruition. But at this point, Elevate, they just want to kind of keep the drone in their base and just make sure they get the Slang done. They can easily close this one out, reset it when they need to, and make C9 kind of come to them. And if once they do, they can just reset the drone and make them bait it out.
This is exactly what Cloud9 was doing in the first half here, just kind of wrapping that drone over to the blue side, wasting the time of Cloud9 here. And, you know, time is not a luxury that they have right now. They have 30 seconds to come back, and with Shawnee finding those two pieces, bringing the drone over to blue side, that's got to be trouble. Watson coming up on the flank, drop shots, assault. He gets traded after, but the distraction that he caused there was more than enough of a contribution. Shawnee and Reedy, again, just dominating with their NV4s, able to find 2 kills. And they're just making it look easy in the slaying column.
Yeah, and this one kind of looks to be wrapped up at this point. I mean, just an overall great job from Elevate at certain points. I mean, using their rigs very effectively. As Rookie actually is going to use his overdrive rocks as he is going to take a few shots and does drop in the end. So trying to get the dunk is Ricky, but unfortunately for him, it's not going to fall. And it seems that Elevate are going to walk away with this game number 3, 5-2. Kind of an expected game for them to win. I mean, I think we would have been really surprised if we saw C9 actually take that. But back-to-back games for Elevate, and now the EU team up 2-1.
Right, so if you're Elevate right now, you're feeling really good, recovering well from that punishing hard point. They come into the search and destroy, outplay Cloud9 a little bit later on. We see dominating performances from the likes of Zed and Reedy late game, and they come up clutch and win that round 11. Now we get into the uplink, and they just outclass Cloud9, really. We saw, some big plays out of Shawnee, for sure. Many multi-kills coming across their side. Great NV4s on the side of Elevate, and it's showing there on Throwback. So now we're going to get into our next hard point. And if you're just tuning in, we saw a dominating performance from Cloud9 on that hard point. So if you're a Cloud9 fan, you want to see them do that again. Tie it up, force game 5. Otherwise, Elevate's walking away with this series.
Yeah, and I believe we're actually having Retaliation hardpoint. Now, this is one that I've been able to watch in certain scrims when it comes down to the C9 side, and this is one of their favorite hardpoints. I mean, when we talk about previous, when the recent update kind of came in, and we talked about how, different the spawns kind of are, and people always talk about, the classic COD kind of feels like old hardpoint did back in the days of Black Ops 2, and, when this patch came out, I remember Aches actually, the night it came out, he was saying, playing Retaliation hardpoint, they were scrimming, and he was like, this map is fantastic. I love this map, and I think it kind of reminds him of that Black Ops 2 feel. Of course, a very dominant player, one of the best players when it came down to Black Ops 2, and complexity, their incredible run throughout Black Ops 2, especially with their dominance at hardpoint and whatnot. So I think this map kind of feels like home for Aches especially, maybe even Ricky as well. And I think they've definitely kind of taught the young guns of both Lacefield and Assad how to play this very well. So I think when it comes down to it, this is one of C9's better maps. So to me, I think there is a very high possibility that we could see a Game 5 happen.
See, so here, I'm a little torn. On the side of Elevate, I'm really liking the performance out of Zed. I'm expecting Reedy and Shiny to do big things.
It's Watson,
and then
right?
Maybe Watson will pick it up a little bit. I'm not really sure, but he's not having too great of a series. He's having a few shining moments,
right.
but I think he's definitely being outclassed by his teammates at the moment. So I feel like they do have a little bit of a win factor in terms of the slaying power from the likes of Zed and Reedy, right? We've already complimented their NV4s, awesome shots, and multi-kill potential. However, on the side of Cloud9, they have Assault, and he's always a threat with that weapon. Then they have the aggression of Lacefield, two of some of the best slayers in the North American Call of Duty World League. I look for them to contribute a whole lot to Cloud9 and their win factors. And then we have, of course, Aches, who, knows hardpoint like the back of his hand and is an incredible shot caller. So I'm curious to see how this plays out. I feel like this is definitely going to be – I think Cloud9 is going to take it, but I think this is going to be a much closer map than Map 1.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like you said, Map 1, 250, so I believe 159. C9, like I said, obviously having a very, very dominant performance when it comes down to it. I'm also curious to see, the MV4 battle that's going to be going on between Shawnee and Assault. Both younger players. I think Shawnee just recently turned 18, I think right before PSX ended up happening. whatnot. And of course, Assault in his own regard, kind of a newer player to the scene back at Black Ops 3, kind of making his name. To me, by far, one of the best younger players throughout Black Ops 3, along with a number of different guys, kind of rising through the Cloud9 organization. So 2 young guns, 2 AR players, and 2 guys who I think can make a massive impact on this map. And I'm looking forward to watching that battle throughout this entire one. So one more thing that I want to look at, obviously, is going to be the rig selection for either side. It seems that Ricky is going to continue to go with that Centurion. Obviously, it does take a little bit of a longer time to earn, but obviously trying to be the player that he is, a sticky situation type of guy, likes to do the dirty work around the map. He's going to have that trophy drone trait there as well to kind of block those things. So a lot of the time when I see players rock Centurion, they usually like to put it for that central hard point. If they can lock that one down, kind of get a realization of where the spawns are, that Centurion just kind of locks things down to make sure that if any players do try to enter in one by one, they can easily kind of pick them off. So I really like that pick there from Ricky, kind of staying consistent.
Yeah, for sure, because that hill is just flood central and nade hell. So I'm curious to see how they respond to it with that Centurion, of course. MV4s should be a huge factor on this map, and if Elevate's shooting anything like they did on the last map, then it should certainly be an advantage towards them. However, Assault, as consistent as ever with that role, should certainly be the star player over there for Cloud9. So I want to see what wacky opening strategy Elevate's going to have for this map.
You
by the way,
think we see smokes and a sniper for Reedy
I
again?
wouldn't be surprised. It was good. It was a really good strategy. I mean, it makes sense.
Oh, okay. I saw Zed with the pistol on, and I was like, wait a second. Hold on. But
wonder why he's not running the Horn instead of the.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like the EMC
they're probably agreeing not to use it.
What was the other pistol?
I think they're agreeing not to use it, actually.
That's a good point. That actually might be the case.
It was in the Search and Destroy, though, which is weird. I don't know.
I thought that was the Kendall. It was like the Kendall 44 and the EMC. I don't think we've seen maybe we have seen a Hornet. I don't know.
There was a Hornet in Game 2.
Was it?
Yeah,
okay.
For sure.
Well,
we got turned on, remember?
But yeah, that was the EMC. That was the Kendall. That wasn't the Hornet.
Ah, yeah. They do look very similar, huh?
Yeah, they do. It's kind of odd. But anyway, looking through the players' classes, not seeing anything necessarily kind of standing out. Glad to see Lacefield rocking that OSA. Definitely more preferred weapon. He probably feels a lot more comfortable with that one as well, being the sub player, or actually close-up player that he is. Of course, AR is preferred when it comes down to this. But is there any play that you want to hop on board with as this game does load in?
I'd like to see what Shawnee's going to start off and do here, really. I'm interested in his play at the moment. He's got access to a flechette grenade. Expect to see him just tossing that over the cars, blowing them up real quick, letting his teammates get into a solid position, and just really pre-aiming with that MV4.
Of course, early nades starting to come out instead of getting it second of time until it's currently contested. So early gunfight starting to come in there. The flank is on play, so a nice job there from Aches. He tries to find one, finds a second as well, so a nice job there coming in from the C9 side. No one goes through lobby, and it looks like Elevate pay for that.
Cloud9 wins their opening engagements on every respawn we've seen so far. So you got to wonder if that's something that Elevate's going to go back and revise here shortly. Reedy coming up off the spawn that was able to gun Aches. Some awesome shots going down there. Ricky, though, is going to shut down Watson on the wall run, coming from their curve. Zed and Reedy, though, responding with 3 kills, getting them some awesome map pressure to move up towards this objective, hoping to close this deficit that Cloud9 has started off the game with against them. Assault, all over your kill feed there. Easy 2-piece. Like I said, such a huge threat on the map. And we're seeing Lacefield, who's already rotated for the next hardpoint. Excuse me, expect to see the rest of Cloud9 follow that up shortly. You got to see someone up on Plat. It looks like there's going to be a gunfight going down around Plat or Bedroom here shortly.
Yeah, shots going in here toward lobby. Zed firing one few away. He's able to clean that one over on Ache. So C9 definitely trying to be aware as they're coming from that market side. What a shot from Shawnee as he sees him for a split second, and a few bullets is all it takes. Rushes inside that hill. Player over on Cat, and Shawnee is starting to do a little bit of damage. And this is the guy that you don't want to kind of start to go off here. You can't let him have those 3 and 4 kills because he will absolutely make you pay.
All right, he's well on his way, 2 in a row so far. He's sitting in position, trying to protect the garage area. However, he's not there to save Zed. He's there just a little too late. And now he's got to get in position for this hard point. He's getting peppered from Plat. 2 kills go in favor of Cloud9. Now expect to see them rush Shawnee for the scrap time. The rotation should be coming in. There's only 1 player going for this last hill, and that's going to be Zed, who's going to have to meet up with Ricky here shortly. Takes him out and robs him of that time. However, I expect to see, Ricky spawns way out towards bottom alongside Ache. So this is going to be a really tough hard point for Cloud9 to hold. I think that Elevate should have no problem making short work of the 2 players there and then taking over. Unless Assault has something to say about it. He finds 1 kill, gets the assist on the second, spots 1 running out. Him and Lacefield need to be the duo here to break this. Reedy, though, is going to shut down Lacefield. Ricky's there for the two-piece alongside Assault. Excellent push there from Cloud9, working through that disadvantage.
Yeah, that was a big play from both Lacefield and Assault. I mean, the young guns kind of holding off on market, waiting for basically the two veterans to come back from that side street, the backside street. They're able to lock it down. So a great job there from the side of C9. Like I said, kind of playing through that disadvantage, and shots starting to come in there from Assault, trying to lock this one down. Of course, like I said, the rotation, once these players start to die, it's all about the rotation over toward Broken Building. That was without question the money hill when it comes down to this map. Looks like Assault has run out of ammo, and the Fists aren't able to make anything happen of it. So really, most likely going to gain the scrap seconds as the rotation battle is already underway, and kills starting to happen as Ricky finds one, and Lacefield finds the second.
Cloud9 spawns out. We should see them have control of Broken here now. I'm curious to see what their setup's going to look like. It looks like it's a little disrupted, though, as Shawnee's able to open up with a kill. And Aches is going to spawn at the top of the map, way behind the rest of the Elevate players as they make this push onto the hard point. But we saw that Cloud9 was able to work through the disadvantage in the last time. The question is, can they do it again? Reedy, the odd man out of his roster, he's still able to find a kill and tag up a second. He's definitely making the most of his positioning right now, tagging up another player as well. 3 versus 2, though, in favor of Cloud9. And Ricky still sitting on the hard point unanswered.
Yeah, and it looks like the side of Elevate have got to rush players through. They cannot afford to lose a lot of this time, but when you're rushing one player at a time, this player number 8, I believe is Shawnee, trying to just hold off the side of Cloud9, trying to wait for his teammates to even get toward the hill, but it seems they keep getting picked off. And when you have a player like Watson who's currently 2 and 9, you cannot afford to have him have a slow game when he respawns again. I mean, 3 and 9, he run on 2 streak, but in reality, like I said, you cannot have one guy just dropping the ball. I mean, C9 will absolutely make you pay for it, and that's the reason why they're up by the amount that they are.
Yeah, and you really got to pick on Watson a little bit here. You got to wonder what's going on with him in this series. Someone on this team's got to get his head back in the game, hype him up a bit. You know, they're only down by 20 seconds. If he steps it up, even just to have like a sort of an okay game, that would be more than enough for the rest of the team to carry the slack. So
just play average, Watson. I'm joking. Obviously,
no.
3 go down, and Ricky's still on the hill.
He will be fine here. Expect him to pick it up here shortly. I'm sure he understands the importance of this match. So as you rotate over to the hallway, Ricky's going to take point with the K-bar. Again, uncontested time here. Expect to see some pressure come in shortly, though, as he's tagged up a little bit. Ricky knows he doesn't have to engage this, though. Assault's going to do it for him. Find 2 kills, 1 just around the corner. Easy challenge there, easy kill. And again, just lots of unanswered time here as Ricky soaks it all up. Over 2 minutes. Look at the scoreboard. Look at how much time Ricky has compared to everyone else in the top right corner.
And he's 16-5. Like, he's doing absolutely everything for his team right now. And, of course, he's getting closer and closer to that Centurion. We'll be able to use it on this next hill for the side rotations. But
this is hard point, right? Ricky's just kind of sitting pretty here. Of course, the time is winding down, but he got so much of that with very little opposition. So now we see Elevate. They're fully aware they had to give all that time up. They're going to rotate over to Bridge and try and get a full 60 on this one. Looks like that's what the shot call is going to be. Reedy in a favorable position for it. However, he's not able to finish the kill. Assault is going to shut him down. And now Watson, front line here, tags up 1 player, but he's got 2 in front of him. That's going to be tough to handle. Ricky is going to put him away. And Reedy looks like he has what could be a good flank here, but Ricky's triple is actually going to make his flank much more difficult.
Ricky is just going off. I'm going to try to stand by with him for as long as I can because he's doing everything. He's being the main slayer, he's being the guy who's been in the hill for so long as he just ends up dropping. But being that front line, being the defensive player that he is, doing a fantastic job at that. But Assault, did I catch that one on the wall run? Great intuition to just over and look at that one. He's going to close that one off. So it seems that C9 getting closer and closer to that 200-point mark, and like I said, the side of Elevate just struggling massively, and it's kind of all been to the play of both Watson and Shawnee not having a big performance. We talked about Shawnee needs to have a bigger play with that MB4. The battle between him and Assault. Assault double positive, Shawnee basically almost double negative.
Yep, not looking so good for the side of Elevate here, but Shawnee's taking point in the hill. They're getting this initial time, so they understand the importance of the rotations. But I think a lot of that is just due to the fact that they can't stop Cloud9 from getting that scrap time. Trying to claw their way back into this game. If we take a look at our scoreboard in the top right corner, we can see who has the progress toward their payloads. Now Cloud9, with them having such a huge lead, you can see that a lot of their players are much closer to their payloads than the likes of the Elevate players. So when those come into play, expect Cloud9 to snowball this game a little bit harder. Reedy is able to find a 2-piece before Ake shuts him down. Assault shuts down Shawnee, is able to take down Shawnee as well. And now Ricky in position. He has access to Centurion. I think we should see all of this scrap time go to Cloud9, but the rotation, once again, is going to go to Elevate.
Elevate needs to lock this one down. They cannot afford to give another 30 seconds or even 40 seconds away, because at that point the game will be all but over. So the rotation starting to come in. One coming from Lobby, excuse me. Reedy looking toward Market, ends up dropping. Watson and Shawnee still trying to hold strong, but they don't realize they're going to be getting that spawn over toward Market. So nice shots there from Watson. Laceful still spawning out, and Ricky, with that Centurion in hand, is not able to make anything come of it. So nice job there from Elevate as they're able to get that early rotation forward. And what a shot was that from Shawnee? What is that?
All right, so we're seeing the initial, we're seeing the rotation in that early time actually paying off here as Elevate is able to clear out the first wave of Cloud9 players. Here comes the second one, though. Shawnee still finding kills no matter what. Awesome NV4 shots from him. He's got to stay alive, but now the pressure is on. He's got so much in front of him. He's shutting down everyone on Cloud9 right now. Awesome performance from Shawnee for the past 60 seconds, and it looks like Elevate is going to get this entire hardpoint. This is what they've been trying to do for the past 3 minutes, and it's finally paid off. Now, Cloud9 posturing up and mounting up and ready to do the same. The Centurion is active just in front of Ricky. Can they hold this hardpoint and end the game?
Elevate went big on that last hill. Can they do it again? C9 trying to hold strong. The Centurion inside, but Ricky currently 23-11 over. Double paused up. Nearly has 3 minutes of hill time. Doing everything for the Cloud9 side as they try to force this game 5. Last player here, he shuts down Watson. Tried to find another. Ricky don't. But looks like it will be Laceful able to make it happen. Zed comes from behind, so a nice job there. Nice 2-piece coming in from Zed as this will be warded a few seconds. But to no avail. Cloud9 getting closer and closer, but Zed trying to hold on to this one, trying to wait for his teammates to come on the bench, but he ends up dropping, so C9 now get awarded a few points.
Assault has access to that active camo. He's going to pop it. Unnecessary for this kill, but he's going to get it anyway. One more just behind him. This Elevate player wants to win the gunfight, but no, the drop shot too difficult. He gets the 2-piece. Zed is able to clean that right up, get himself some scrap time here. It looks like it's going to be contested here shortly. One Cloud9 player just around the corner. Awesome jump shot, taking down Ricky. However, Cloud9 is 15 seconds away from closing out the game. Keep in mind, on this last hill, Ricky was able to dominate the objective column, completely nearly uncontested on hallway. However, this one's opening up much differently. Ricky can't get into the hard point because all of his teammates are dead, and Watson and Reedy have taken point.
Elevate, they might be able to do this. They could bring back a huge deficit that came over in Grave. And now can they do it again? Zed and Reedy able to combine for a few kills. Assault tries to enter in. Zed trying to hold strong as he drops, and C9 start to follow through. Assault finds one. Ricky lingering, trying to catch a few players. Hill currently contested. They're able to shut down one. Only 8 more seconds to do. Cloud9 trying to hold through. Zed rocks his rewind, but in some cases that's not exactly what you want to do, as he has to back up, re-engages, and it's not going to be good enough. Cloud9 able to hold on and force that game 5 as Retaliation hardpoint ends 250 to 219.
See, and it's a shame that Watson didn't start this game the way that he was playing within the last few minutes of this map. If you take a look at his KD, he's actually only -3 towards the end of this game, and that's when his team, when he started to find those kills, that's really when his team started to come right back into this game. They got that full 60 on Cathedral thanks to Shawnee's awesome performance with the NV4 and Graveyard. However, it wasn't enough. Cloud9 was able to clutch up in the end and end the game. Aegis going 13-23. It seems like it's so even in Black Ops 2 you can notice this. Like I feel like the other players on Cloud9 are so strong at hardpoint that Aegis just has to be like relevant and like really contribute a lot for you know, a hill or two into the game, and then they win the hardpoint. It's really crazy to see.
It's kind of hard to find kills when you have players like Ricky, who's going on for a lot of the time, Assault and Lacefield, who are going to easily drop around that 25 kill margin. So, like I said, with that in mind, Cloud9, yet again, I believe every single series that they've been in, it goes to game 5. I don't know.
Yeah, Aegis had 0 defends that game.
Did he?
Yeah. 0 defense, but there it is. We're forcing the game 5 here. Cloud9 takes the hard point. That's 2 hard points in this series. In case you're just tuning in, I'm Fox. I'm joined by Landon. We have Cloud9 versus Elevate, and we're going into game 5. The hard point, first one taken by Cloud9, dominating fashion. Then we get into the search and destroy. Elevate's able to win that in round 11. Awesome performance out of the likes of Reedy.
It went to game 5 round in round 11, didn't it?
Right. So it goes to round 11. The likes of Zed and Reedy, huge factor for Elevate that map. It was a SCORCH search and destroy. Then we get into the uplink. Elevate's going to take that one. Really, that's what everybody expected, is for Elevate to stomp all over Cloud9's weakness in that game mode, right? And then we get into the hard point, as you just saw. Cloud9's able to close it out in the end. Disappointing performance for Watson on a lot of the maps in this series, but once he started to come to life, Elevate was able to come back. So maybe he has that fire behind him now, and he can have a great game 5 here. It's going to be an intense one. Yeah,
definitely going to be looking through Watson through the Codcaster a lot to see like what he kind of provides. he can at least help his squad. I mean, even if they try to give him the bomb, maybe he can even try to do that objective. He's just not doing well in the slaying. I wouldn't make him do that.
If he's not usually carrying the bomb, I wouldn't want to force that role on him now just because he's having a poor series. I feel like that would kind of.
That's exactly what they need to do. If he's having a struggling time, then give him the bomb, let him play the objective, and then if he's like usually the bomb carrier's not going to get the most amount of kills anyway. Like he's kind of, and so he's not necessarily irrelevant, but he's doing all the dirty work. So the only reason why I'd say maybe give the bomb to Watson, it might not be familiar, but at least it's the factor of, Watson, you're not doing well this game. Let's give you the objective. Let's let the other guys try to slay out and try to do their work. That's the only reason why I would say that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it kind of just depends on the way that you approach the game here. I feel like what that would do to a player psychologically is like, hey, you're doing poorly right now. Let's completely, just change everything. I feel like that messes up their opening pushes that they've been practicing together. I think that they should just keep whatever their plan is on Crusher that they usually have and run with it here. Expect Watson to contribute. That's why he's on your team. You think that he's competent and able to do so. So if he comes through, I think that we could actually.
It's hard.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think Cloud9 is just going to close it out here. I'm going to stick with my original prediction. Cloud9 is going to win the series.
Hashtag C9 win.
Thinking so.
I'm kind of leaning toward you. I'm kind of leaning toward that as well. When it comes down to map like Crusher, expect to see sniper rifles. Expect to see Reedy with that sniper rifle. Again, obviously, but it seems that we are just about ready to go here for game number 5. Of course, like I said, C9 has been in the situation many, many times, getting reverse sweep against TK, nearly getting reverse sweep versus Echo Fox. I think the same thing happened in another series as well. So in some cases, they could have a little bit of an advantage coming into this game 5. They've been in the situation many times. I'm not sure how many times Elevate has gone to a game 5, maybe, or at least maybe a last map search and destroy in the open bracket or anything. But you got to imagine, as far as this event is considered, Cloud9 are kind of like game 5 veterans.
Yeah, they've had so many game 5s here. I feel like that's a sort of a worrying trend. You don't want to always have to rely on clutching up in game 5. You want to have a win factor that can close it out within those first few maps. Once they patch up that uplink weakness, I think this could be a very dangerous Cloud9 roster. But they've gone game 5 every game. They can't. That's not a sustainable way to get through here. So. Curious to see what happens on the side of Elevate. I think we could see some sniper play from the likes of Reedy that has been incredibly impactful so far this series. On the side of Cloud9, expect to see big plays out of Lacefield as usual. We got an S&D veteran and genius in the form of Ricky.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome shot caller. That is Aches. I think there's a lot of strength on both sides, really, in Search and Destroy.
I really don't know what to say. I mean, it's kind of all been lined out. I mean, we've kind of discussed as far as every storyline that's kind of coming into this one, the factor of Watson needing to have a big performance, Reedy's massive play, Zed's overall, I could say, consistency throughout this entire one. Shawnee, who kind of struggled a little bit toward that last hard point, but kind of started to bring it up. When the guy gets on a run, it seems like he's kind of momentum-based. He can start to, go on a run, go on those 4, 5, and even 6, 7 sprees as well. So that's the side of Elevate. Like I said, Cloud9 been in the situation many, many times, not just in Vegas, but in their entire career. I mean, you have guys like Aches and Ricky who have been in the situation countless times in their entire career. So, and obviously you can't take anything away from players like Reedy and those guys as well who've been playing for a very long time over in Europe. So, with that in mind, it seems that the EU versus NA battle will continue, and it's going to be happening, like you said, in just a second. Crusher, Search, and Destroy to end this one out.
Speaking of the EU versus NA battle, just a quick update. It's been confirmed that FaZe has 3-1 Splice on the main stream. So now, if you want to see some EU versus NA action, this is the place to be. Cloud9 versus Elevate. We're getting into this game 5. In the previous Search and Destroy, it ended in around 11, and Elevate was able to take over and win.
Going to be looking through the player setups as the EMC, like I said, in backhand for Zed. Oh, that is Reedy going to be pulling out the KBS longbow, of course, as per usual. All players looking at the sky, saying the sky's the limit for us. Maybe try to take this one. I'm sorry.
Really hard
I'm trying to make something happen. We got a lot of time for the match.
I have a hard time believing that that's the communication going on right now.
Lacefield on the other side actually.
What's Lacefield saying? What's he saying?
On his own side, probably something like "I'm the best" or like "Pat, you're great." Let me dominate. What's
Ricky saying?
I don't know, man. Ricky's probably just calling out, letting everyone know that you guys are all great, and I don't know. I bet Ricky's feeling pretty confident. I mean, like I said, he's been in a situation many times. Like, if there was ever a situation where I want a player on my team in a Game 5 situation, I probably want Ricky kind of guiding the way, along with Mr. Patrick Price, to kind of call things out. So, with that in mind, I'm curious to see the sniper battle go here off the break. It will be Reedy versus Lacefield, Thermal versus regular sight. Has already shots coming in. Nothing being confirmed yet, but shots coming through. Lacefield tries to challenge again. not a big fan of him going to this side, but either way, nothing going through yet, and the smokes are out,
smokes.
so big play, and actually it's a very smart play coming in from the side of Elevate.
So I was looking for these smokes in that second Search and Destroy because we saw in the first HARDPOINT the smoke thermal play. And it doesn't look like anybody from Cloud9 has anything to respond with. And we're not seeing a thermal on the site of on Lacefield sniper rifle there. Interesting decision there not to respond to something like that. But Reedy is going to find that opening kill with a pistol on to Aches. That's the EMC pistol, and Zed is going to go ahead and get that bomb down. So Elevate, with the man advantage, is able to get the bomb down, and Cloud9 now has to execute a 3 versus 4 retake.
Here comes the pinch, potentially trying to find all 4 players of Elevate. Currently a 3 versus 4. Salt looking the wrong way. Doesn't realize that all of them are on the site right now. Has 2 in mind. Finds 1. Nearly finds a second. Gets turned on. But now a 1 versus 3. The shots come in. Reedy has the bomb down. It would be not out of the best interest to try to have someone go for the defusal, but Reedy not going to spot player just to his right, fires some shots forward, and he should be dropped from behind, and he will. So a nice first round there from the side of Cloud9, able to get the retake on the site, and the defusal come in there from Lacefield as he gets a hat trick there in round number 1.
All right, Cloud9 is going to take round number 1. We didn't really see too much of an impact with the snipers, except we actually, even though there wasn't a kill with it, I think that Reedy's smoke push was pretty impactful. He was able to force Lacefield to back down, and then he can kind of play mind games and do whatever he wants with that play. So it still was impactful, even if he didn't find a kill from it. Just the fact that he exists and is on the map and is using smokes is enough of a threat.
Absolutely. Looks like Reedy going to continue with that sniper. Going to go and look over at Lacefield. He's going to be the bomb carrier, so it wouldn't be in his best interest to probably have that bomb, or to have that sniper rifle in hand, as they're going to be making a B hit here off the start. Looking at the side of Elevate, getting a lot of min-map pressures. They could easily go in a 4-man flank. Curious to see if they try to go for that A side or for B. Maybe trying to make a little bit of a split, but either way, a free bomb site right now for C9. And they might try to go ahead and go for the flank over on the B side, potentially. So they said 2 toward A, 2 toward B. And C9 still yet to realize that this side is completely clear.
For any EU fans out there, I just want you to know that Benson just happily skipped his way over here to watch Cloud9 versus Elevate here. Back into the action that we're seeing 4 Cloud9 players on the B site. The bomb goes down. Shawnee setting up for the retake. We could have a little bit of a pinch here coming in. Player 1, the top right corner of the mini-map, that's Zed. He has 3 enemy Cloud9 players just in front of him. He has to wait for his teammates to initiate, otherwise he's caught and dead. Watson finds the first kill onto Lacefield. And now this is Zed's time to strike, but he gets shut down anyway as Assault's the one to do it. Smoke grenade coming out, cutting off the line of sight. Assault finding yet another kill. He's such a huge threat in this series, and Cloud9 closes out the round to go up 2-0.
That was a very interesting play from the side of Elevate because, of course, they don't really provide any pressure toward a particular site. They all send 4 through middle, and it's kind of a basis of, do we rush that A site? Do we rush toward the B site? They send 2 through that A site. They don't really see anything, and then they start to slowly wrap back around. One player kind of pushes through that site. I believe that was Zed, but he quickly gets foiled as C9 get the bomb down. They're able to kind of look at every direction. So with that in mind, C9 off to a hot start, 2 rounds in a row. We'll continue to see if that sniper rifle battle is going to be in play, but it seems that Reedy is going to switch as well as Lacefield. So it's all business now as the site is going to be referred. It's actually going to be over on B, so Elevate starts to make their push over.
Split set up here on the side of Cloud9. No opening pressure towards middle map. The closest player to it is Aches, who wrapped back over to check it out. And now it looks like we're getting a call on the Cloud9 side that Elevate might be taking that bomb towards the B site. Players wrapping over. Elevate still playing this slowly. I think they're just waiting for a first blood. They're hoping that someone exposes a little bit too much of themselves. He's going to go for the plant, though. And he should be able to get this down without any issues.
Indeed, bomb down nades, throwing out just to see a little bit of cover. C9 obviously already here, no need to rotate. All 4 players stacked up. It's all about how can the sequence of kills go down. Assault most likely going to stay in the back. Wouldn't really be typical for him to push. Lacefield making sure that pinch is not going to be in place. So now it's time to engage. Zed, able to shut down H, but he also finds another one as well. Big 2-piece coming in. Tries to find the third. Not going to go through. So 1 drop from Elevate. 20 seconds left here for Cloud9 to work with. Shots through middle map as now Ricky, last alive, has to clutch the 1 versus 3. It's not exactly looking likely, but the kills can at least try to load toward his overall payload, but shots coming in, it's not going to matter. So a much needed round for Elevate as they get the bomb down, or hold on to the site, and the defensive play turns into a round.
Elevate able to put some numbers in the board here in Game 5. Cloud9 so far with a winning record of Game 5 victories this weekend. This is a moment that they are familiar with, however, not one they should be comfortable with. Curious to see how Elevate can respond to this situation. We're seeing the OSA come out in the hands of Lacefield, so I'd imagine he's going to play some indoor close range engagements with this weapon. All 8 players hovering towards B site. Expect to see a huge flurry of trade kills going down here shortly. Actually, looks like all of Cloud9's going to double back.
I think honestly that's a call from Pat. I think he's saying, you know what, there's something a little bit strange here. We might want to make the rotation back. But since they faked the side toward A, maybe might be going back to B. So I like this play very much because Elevate's thinking, okay, they haven't pushed yet. Maybe they are going to be going over to that A side. Of course, the 2-2 split kind of. I think, yeah, those 2 players are going to wrap back around. So Elevate kind of thrown for a loop here.
This is what we saw in the SCORCH S&D too, is the mind games coming from Cloud9.
Yeah, and it seems Lacefield is going to be able to get that bomb down. Elevate now finally going to be aware, as they've been tricked constantly. So Shawnee firing a few through mid-map, but not able to find anything as of yet. Shots coming in, smokes down as well as 2 drop from the side of Elevate. Watson trying to get a little bit of map control, but he also falls. So now Zed left in a 1 versus 3 left to try to push this one out, but it's not going to go through. The rotations of the bomb trick Elevate, and it seems that C9 are going to be able to get this one at 3-1.
So that works out there for Cloud9, but sometimes I wonder, like I'm giving him credit that he's making the play call to sort of double back and fake things out, but part of me thinks that he's just like, they just don't know what they're doing in that moment. And if you think about it, if you don't know what you're doing, how does the enemy know what you're doing, right? So interesting play out of Cloud9 there. Works out for him again. It's worked out for him quite a bit this series. Of course, I'm just joking. So looking forward to see them do that throughout the rest of this map. Take a look at the utility here. Assault has access to his payload. It looks like Zed is just an assist away from his rewind, which would be huge to get that just after a gunfight so you can get out without being traded. The bomb going down should be able to get it for him. It looks like no one's able to respond to it, so bomb's planted, 45 seconds on the clock. Cloud9 has to come in and defuse if they want to win this round.
The active camo use from Salt, such a smart play. Doesn't choose to always try to fire. The nice trigger discipline coming in as that first blood is awarded. Zed is going to have his rewind if he decides to use it, but he ends up getting shut down. A nice 2 down, now 3 for the side of Elevate. It's up to Reedy, another clutch situation that Elevate is going to have to go through. Player going to be already on that side. Checks just off to his right, but it doesn't matter. The defuse already comes in, and just like that, that's going to be Cloud9 winning back-to-back rounds. Now up 4-1. And I like to play from Elevate. They try to do something a little bit different. The B site wasn't really working for them on either side. They try to make a 4-man rush toward A, but unfortunately for them, they're not able to make it happen. They start to slowly get picked off, and just like that, that's Cloud9 at a massive advantage. They cannot really allow them to get any more unless they start to get a sequence in themselves.
Big game from Assault on the side of Cloud9. He's been a huge threat throughout this entire series. Again, looking at the payloads, Zed was able to earn his rewind last round. Reedy, so close. Lacefield also just an assist away from reactive armor. That would be huge here. It looks like both teams just playing it pretty slow. Elevate heavily stacked towards the B bomb site side of the map. And both teams look like they're just posturing up on opposing sides of the map. Cloud9 not entirely sure of where they want to go just yet. And I think Elevate's just patiently waiting for them to make a play, just sort of checking all their routine lanes and routes and everything, and just trying to get a feel for what the enemy team is doing.
And that one stun might actually completely bait out the side of Elevate. They're going to be making that way toward the side, but it's not going to shut down these 2 players, it seems. But Lacefield still checking. It's going to be actually getting met, but getting with the gunfight. It's a big one.
Wow.
One there from Lacefield, mid-defuse, or mid-plant, excuse me, able to get off of that one, wins the gunfight. And now it's a 3 versus 4. Lacefield still holding strong. Shots coming in just from the side. Looks like Assault wins one. Lacefield finds another, and yet again, 5-1 now. I believe that was 3 kills in that round coming in from Lacefield alone. That one mid-plant gets off of it, finds 1, finds 2, and then there is the 3rd. Lacefield going off here. Cloud9 1 round away from winning this game 5.
Yeah, popping the reactive armor there, they had absolutely no chance to shut down those 2 Cloud9 players pushing up towards them, especially with Lacefield having that extra body armor, real difficult to respond to.
Well, Elevate, your backs are against the wall. It's not necessarily an elimination match, but that loser's bracket is not looking easy to say the least. So, gonna have to try to make some magic happen. Looks like they do have at least 1 payload to work with. Really only, maybe like I said, an assist, maybe to kill away. Got to get up and close and personal towards that site. Nade out. Shots are as well. Lacefield actually rocks the sniper rifle for this round. Reedy gets all up close and personal, but he ends up dropping 2. So now a 2 versus 2. Aches and Ricky, 2 veterans on the squad to try and close this one out. Young Guns did it last round. Can they do it this one? But Zed mid-gunfight decides to rock the rewind. He thinks he's going to lose it and decides to back up.
I think he expected to get outnumbered or something after the initial shots. That might have been Might have been the idea there.
I mean,
I thought he could have finished it
He
too,
would have
though.
looked like a genius if he would have got the kill, but since it's one more bullet, it kind of looks a little bit strange there. But
Yeah.
in the end, obviously, it is round one there from Elevate, so they're going to at least last one more.
All payloads used, but I think Reedy's about to get his. Oh, no, he just used his.
He just used it. So he ends up using that overdrive. Nothing really earned here for this side of Elevate. It's going to be a few rounds before they have anything to work with. But not really much earned on the side of Cloud9 except for Assault. So he's going to have the active camo. Most likely next round, let's get a few kill combinations in. So wall run being watched. That actually finds Aches off the break, and now that's going to be leaving Cloud9 in an awkward situation. They get completely pushed forward. Elevate say, we're tired of these slow rounds. We're ready to rush you guys. And now Ricky left him behind.
Wow.
Lacefield, bomb in hand. Going to shut down two. That's going to be a big play for Lacefield. Finds the third. Not able to make it happen. I would have literally lost it if he would have clutched that out. That was almost one of the best rounds I would have ever seen.
Lacefield and Ricky are both getting spammed by those
so
jammer
close.
grenades.
Oh
That would have been an
my.
embarrassing way to lose the round for sure there. Lacefield was able to find 3 kills, almost caught the 4th, just hugging that corner, just no one bothered checking it. That's going to bring him up to a solid 11 kills, the most in the lobby. We're seeing the sniper rifle come back out. Hasn't had too much of an impact so far this game, and really this series from Lacefield, but it's going to switch that, put that class away. Now it looks like Elevate mounting up to push towards the B bomb site. They're going to be met with 3 Cloud9 players. Zed is able to put this bomb down, 200 points away from some more score streaks. He has access to the Scarab. We could see him plant and then just go for that immediately. He also has the rewind though, so I don't think he wants to get out of his character's model at all right now. I think he wants to stay alive so he can pop that rewind when he needs it. Connecting with some lethals and tacticals around the corner, that buys him a little bit more time. But those Cloud9 players read that. They know that he does this every time they put the bomb down. He just throws his grenades immediately.
All shots coming in. Zed ends up falling. Watson trying left to try to hold the load. 2 versus 3. Not put it on the defuse as of yet, but Watson, the LMS, as Cordon used to say, but he ends up dropping, and just like that,
losing the gunfight.
he ends up falling, and now that's going to be Cloud9, who yet again clutch up in a Game 5 situation, winning that last map 6-3. Oh man, that was a fun match to watch. Through and through. Like we said, the hardpoint dominated by C9. Elevate wins the next 2 games back to back, and then, like we said, 250 to 219 on the last hardpoint, and then Pressure S&D obviously 6-3 won. So obviously a very, very interesting match to say the least. But Cloud9 gets the better end of it.
And you saw that at the end right there, the site that I think it was either Ricky or Assault using on the MV4, that actually lets people see the outlines of players through smoke grenades. So when I mentioned at the beginning of the game that it didn't look like Cloud9 had adapted to the fact that they were using so many smokes, it looks like a few of their classes were changed to that. We didn't see the thermal on Lacey's assault rifle. Excuse me, not assault rifle, sniper rifle, but we did see that sight so that you could look through smoke grenades with it. Not really that great of an impact because they used it later in the late stages of the game where there were fewer smokes,
Right.
but still good adaptation on the side of Cloud9 and lots of great mind games and shot calling on their side too that's able to make them come out on top.
Absolutely.
Again though, disappointing performance for Watson, going 2-8 that search and destroy.